I'm here today with Boy Blue. Um, Blue, this is amazing.
Thank you.
So when did you do this?
I did this piece, I think, about a week and a half ago, and I was really kind of just culminating my ideas together. Usually I go through an arduous process of emotions when I'm about to do a piece like this, because all my pieces are so academic.
Yeah.
So this is a really freeing element to me, you know. So this piece is based off of I guess a Lutheran idea, and it's about irresistible faith, which I thought was just the funniest thing. It's kind of the idea of God dragging you towards Him when
Yes.
you don't want to, and it's not. I'm not saying it's canon. I'm just saying it's what
Yeah.
some people believe, and that you can't resist it. And so I made this nun who's kind of drowning in her own faith in absolute terror as God drags her towards Him. Which is kind of the opposite of like the drag to hell kind of thing. It's kind of like the drag to heaven kind of thing. Like somebody who really doesn't want to go to heaven would be absolutely horrified. I just thought that was funny, honestly, and it really embodied all the things that I learned during this COVID season about being dragged to heaven. Because I learned a lot about myself, despite all the crazy things that are going on in the world around me. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about friends, a lot about what's important, despite my attitude towards everything. And so I try to make a piece that would kind of embody my horror as I was dragged away towards a more healthy lifestyle.
You mean the whole 2020 was a process?
It was, yeah. The whole year was. You went through so many mixes of emotions. Like you started off as like, this is kind of cool, not gonna lie, dystopian. My whole music.
Yeah.
My music taste changed everything, and you're like, okay, now I'm kind of an alcoholic. Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone went through that phase, and they're like, okay, but I got through it, and now like I feel like my personality is changing. I'm becoming something different, and I'm not sure if I like it. And then you start to learn to accept it. So this piece I made, is the phase where I was like, I don't know if I like who I'm becoming necessarily.
This is frightening.
Because I love my debauchery, but I'm like, maybe this isn't exactly what we're looking for. So being dragged to be a better person is a rare emotion that we don't look at very often. And so I wanted to make a piece that kind of embodied that, with very black, dark, disheveled blotches of ink that really intensifies as you get closer to the face.
This is all ink.
Yes.
Yeah? And it's interesting, and I've always been fascinated, Blue, by the fact that you work so much with ink on canvas. But I'm seeing I've seen a lot of your work, okay, so over the years, but I'm seeing some new things.
Yeah, so...
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you would know better than anyone, but I started off as a hyper-detailist ink artist, and so all of my academic pieces would focus primarily on getting those lines to be as small as possible to create a piece using the most amount of objects. Whereas in this particular line style, which is something I learned actually this year, something I adapted to this year, there's a lot of blocks of ink mixed with different techniques like spread, flow, hyper detail, splatter. It's a combination of all the different techniques that can be used with Black India ink. And so that was also a part of the process of learning about myself. It was, okay, I know what I'm good at. What can I be better at? And that's kind of how I learned how to do all of those things together. You can almost see there's a difference between this type of blotch and that type of blotch off to the left corner. And that was me going through the process of traditional Chinese flow ink art, and then the more postmodern usage of the medium down here, where we take dry on dry brush and just wipe. And so it's a combination of so many different things, and that's probably why I enjoyed making it so much, because it felt like I was making more than one piece.
Let me ask you this. Tell me what it was that made you, I'm curious, if you know, what was it that made you decide to frame it the way you framed it?
Yeah, so the great part about me using different techniques is it's almost always met with some kind of rebellion that's within myself.
Yeah.
And so every time I see something, I say I don't like it, I kind of have to do it. It's kind of like, it's been like, my rebellion has been towards me. And if I don't like math, I have to do math. If I don't like exercising, it's time to exercise. Same thing can be applied to art. So I drew one of the eyes on the wrong plane. And
Yeah.
so I drew one of the eyes just to test it out, and I was like, "Damn it!" Like I'd have to. I was about to erase it. I was like, "You know what? Let's just like, where are we going with this?" Because my frustration is actually embodying the point of the piece anyway. So
Right.
I drew the other eye. I was like, "We are on a diagonal plane now." So I took the canvas, like, I'm like, "This is where we're at now," because ink is it's a powerful medium, and I always say to people who I teach ink. So when I tell students that we're getting into ink, is that you are the facilitator of ink, and ink controls you, and then you do what it wants usually. And then sometimes you give suggestions that are helpful. So you have to be prepared when you use such a powerful medium, because it flows in different ways that you might not be able to predict.
Yeah, it really, it's I hesitate to say this because I think it depends on the artist, but it's not terribly forgiving.
Oh no!
I mean, you know what I mean.
Oh God, yeah, no, there's no forgiveness. No, and I've always loved ink. I was born with a pen in my hand since I was 8. God bless my parents and their walls. You know,
Yeah.
terrible times. Can't get rid of anything. But you make a mistake, and your options are give up or adapt. Unlike pencil, unlike oils, you have to work with the medium, and the medium decides things sometimes without you. So that's probably one of the reasons I love using the medium so much, because it takes away the freedom that can sometimes be oppressive that we have. We learned that in 2020. Quite dogmatically, didn't we? You know?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's those limitations that push our creativity.
Yeah, that's right. And in fact, that's pretty much the only thing that creates creativity. It's what can we do with an order that creates something that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Not necessarily chaos will do what it wants all the time.
Yeah, this is a wonderful piece. I'm really enjoying though seeing you do some new things even with ink. I never thought I'd say, he's doing something new with ink. Oh no, I thought you already did everything.
Me too. I was like, I'm done. I'm like, no, that's not the mindset.
No, there's always more.
Always more.
Yeah. Blue, thank you for this. This is going to be wonderful. I really appreciate you participating with us in this activity. Thank you.
Yeah,
I really
hope
appreciate
people enjoy it. I'm looking forward to see some reactions, and hopefully somebody has a heart big enough to put it up on a wall.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Someone's going to fall. Yeah, say this.
Somebody, you're Massachusetts, like.
Yeah, you're connecting with this piece.
You love being scared. You know.
Great.
Wake up in the morning.
Thanks, Blue.
Thanks, Mike. Sounds good.